Do you realize everybody starts to see you to becoming a predictable individual? A lot of people are always saying, I never fail, I don't want to fail, I feel bad when I fail at something.
Who am I? Asking that central question in one's life. Looking at your strengths and your weaknesses. Getting some evaluation, determining what it is you want out of life. Self-approval. Approving yourself to do the things that you like to do.
How to turn resources into productivity. Human resources, physical resources, solving problems. That's the challenge of life and lifestyle.
Sometimes you got to take a break from just about everything, disappear, come back, and shock the world. I'm talking to that athlete. I'm talking to that administrator. I'm talking to that nurse, that doctor. I'm talking to that student. I'm talking to that communicator. I'm talking to that pioneer, the inventor. I'm talking to that entrepreneur. I'm talking to that preacher. I'm talking to that person who refuses to stay.
I was watching the documentary about, I don't know, maybe a month ago on Michael Jordan, The Last Dance. And, you know, of course, it's got Michael Jordan. It's got, you know, Dennis Rodman. It's got all the guys that Jordan Pippen. It's got all the guys from that era, right? And we talk, and they're all kind of talking about Michael Jordan and their last season, and that's why they call it The Last Dance. And it's cool because they go from, like, you know, back when Michael was in high school to when he was in college to the seasons before the last season, and they really cover his whole career in detail, and it's very entertaining to watch. And I'm going to reference a certain scene in this documentary. There was a certain point, and everybody knows how awesome Michael Jordan is, right? Whether you're I'm not really even a basketball fan. I'm a sports fan. I like football, I like baseball, I like hockey, but basketball is probably my least favorite sport just because I never played it.
You are not supposed to be good at everything. How many times you've been in a position where you say, I want to feel accomplished? You don't need to feel accomplished. You need to work and earn your accomplishment. If you fail and keep on failing, fail some more. Keep on failing, fail a little bit more. People are always looking around like, I don't want this, I don't want that, I don't need to do that. A lot of people right now in this world, they rather feel like they accomplished something rather than just fail and learning from it. Do you really believe that failure is the enemy? Failure is definitely a teaching tool in life. We need to fail.
But I love studying high achievers, and it's hard to argue that Michael Jordan wasn't the best at what he does. I mean, he's in the conversation. I think he's, you know, head and shoulders the best player that ever played, and probably the best athlete and the best mentality in sports that we've ever had. And so when everybody thinks of Michael Jordan, we always hear the famous things like, you know, he was intense, he was mean sometimes, he was angry, he was a tough player, you know, he wasn't always nice and practical. We always hear this shit, okay? But watching him interact on that documentary gave me a different perspective. And that perspective, it came to me in an instant. There was a scene in the documentary where Michael was, they were before one of his big games. I believe it was a playoff game.
Now, if you're the type of person that feel that you got to be the best at everything, that's a great mindset to have. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Wake up. You can't be the best at everything. And if you're running because you're failing, then you've already failed the test. Because you're not man enough and you're not woman enough to realize that maybe, just maybe, I need to fail. So that the next time I'm faced with a challenge, I know exactly what I need to do. But then there's another one that's coming. There's another challenge waiting on me. And then there's another challenge waiting on me. And then there's another challenge waiting on me. That doesn't mean that you got to give up. That doesn't mean you got to quit. You learn from it. You build on it. And then you understand what it means to fail. Learning the things that I've learned in my life, it taught me something.
Where they are, I'm talking to that person that doesn't have a problem laying in obscurity, because you know that when you come out of the dark room, all eyes on you. We live in a culture of business, distraction, and noise. And sometimes the only way something's going to change is if we disappear. Sometimes you've got to delete the app. Sometimes you have to walk away.
Going after the dreams that you like to go after. And we know when we don't approve of our dreams because of the fact that they stay up in our minds. We don't act on them. We come up with a variety of excuses on why we're not going into action.
If you don't love you, if you don't like you, if you don't believe in you, if you're not experiencing the right emotions about you, you bring all those emotions with you to these places you go. Learning the strategies of being happy and fulfilled prior to having all these material things will serve you, because I have so many friends that have accomplished all the material things in their life, and those things made them happy short term, but they're living an unfulfilled destination here on earth.
Nothing you do will make you any more valuable. You are valuable right now.
See, the challenge is how to be happy with what you got. You got something. The next key is how can you be happy with it? It's a challenge. It's a problem. It needs to be solved. I met Neil Armstrong one time, first man to step his foot on the moon. Neat guy. I met him in Chicago. Neil Armstrong said, going to the moon was simply a matter of solving problems. That's the way he described it. The trip to the moon was just solving problems. So no telling where you can go if you solve the problems. No telling what kind of a journey you can take. Just solve the problems. Now, let me give you some keys on problem solving that really helped to alter my life. Problem solving.
You are one of a kind. You didn't come off an assembly line. You weren't mass produced. God made you unique. Put your shoulders back. Start carrying yourself with confidence. There will never be another you.
Emotional resilience. I think this is one of the things that if you can develop this, again, it doesn't mean that you have some superpower to ignore your emotions, but you understand facts over feelings. You understand just because you feel something, even though your feeling is real, doesn't make it right. It doesn't mean that, okay, if I feel like I'm not enough, then I'm not enough. And emotional resilience just simply, emotions come up and you don't cave to your emotions.
Quitting guarantees the failure. Once you quit, it rules out any chance of succeeding. And if God is waking you up continually, that's a sign from God that He ain't through with you.
Sometimes you have to fall back into the dark room and focus on it. Everybody wants destiny, everybody wants. Manifestation, everybody wants. Fulfillment, everybody wants the next level in the relationship and a higher quality of living. But nobody wants to eliminate distractions. Nobody wants to disappear for 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, and get into a place where you can focus on.
First, work out your problems on paper, not just conversation and thinking. Put the problem on paper. You'll find, if you're around us quite a bit, the evening seminar, these 2 days, any other context you might have with us, we're always talking about paper, journals, projects, books, learning to think on paper. And problem solving is the same thing. To solve a problem, simple. First, divide a piece of paper in half. On this side of the paper, state the problem. Just write it out. Now, you don't have to live on it or live in it. You don't have to dwell on it. You don't have to stay on it, but you do have to state it. To make an intelligent decision, you need the accurate facts. You got to know what the problem is. So that's the first step. Just write it out.
If you could just shut out every distraction. What if you could just shut up the world for just a season and focus on you? A man is rewarded in public for what he does in private. Can you unplug for just a moment and focus on you? Focus on what matters. Why are you here? What is your destiny? The reason why you don't see it, the reason why it is not manifested, the reason why you are so frustrated. There's 4 more fingers pointed right back at you. On every second of your life, because it's yours. No one else is going to give you anything you did not earn or deserve. Life is hard. It's hard, guys, I know it is, but guess what? If you want to live an amazing life, you got to do amazing things. You got to do those things that nobody else wants to do so you can live that life that nobody else can. Get up and just do it. You got to dig. You got to dig deep. You got to own it.